Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel on finding your path to your best emotional and physical health, and another segment in our series on attachment and how it affects relationships and how we can maybe move forward and do some healing and improve our relationships in our everyday lives. We've been talking about the different attachment types. So like always, if you like what you hear, please click subscribe so you can get notified when other videos come out. And also feel free to share this with anybody who you think might need it. Pass it around to your friends and family. See if you can help them enhance their relationships. And also, please connect with me on the website if you think you need some personal coaching and some review of your personal situation, and we can kind of figure out what the way forward is for you. So today's topic is going to be a little bit brief. I want to just kind of talk about the two attachment styles that we talked about before, anxious and avoidant, and talk about them as part of a third attachment style, which is a pretty extreme attachment style. A lot of times it's called the disorganized attachment style. And I'm not going to go over a lot of specifics because it's disorganized because it actually will look like both avoidant and anxious, both. And it also involves a lot of shutdown behaviors, which when we start to get into the more treatment aspects and treatment orientations, we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more in depth. But disorganized attachment is really similar. Well, it comes from really, and I mean really bad trauma, and usually sexual abuse, either perpetrated by a parent, most likely by a parent or close family member, and usually not another child. It's usually an adult, which can, and really bad physical abuse as well. And these are the ones where, because these are the people that are supposed to keep them safe. And so we're not talking about just a misattunement like we talked about in anxious or an avoidant, where we talked about neglectful. We're talking about someone where the caregiver actually fully abused and hurt the person they were supposed to be taking care of. And so I see this in really extreme child abuse cases. They develop that kind of disorganized attachment. I want to be attached to this person, but this person is fundamentally harmful to me and to my well-being. And the child learns that, but that they still have this drive to be attached and to have that person care for them. And even when I've worked with them as adults, like in their 40s and 50s, they really struggle to let go of that piece, that desire to be connected to a parent that just can't provide that for them, or one that has really abused them. Sometimes they've disconnected, like in some extreme cases of child abuse where they've disconnected from the perpetrator, or the perpetrator has actually been sent to prison. They still can't heal or forgive that loss of a parent that they felt they should have had or wanted but couldn't have. So that becomes an extreme developmental challenge for them. And even though they might be able to become attached to another person, they can, like a spouse or a partner or whatever, they still tend to have a lot of challenges in these areas. So these are the people that tend to freeze, and they have dissociation, which we could talk about in more detail, and they really can shut down if their nervous system gets overwhelmed, and if they're triggered in that kind of abusive tone. So if they enter into a relationship where they see the same kind of abuse or similar type, which sometimes they do in an effort to heal the relationship or try to make sense out of the relationship before, then they will shut down when faced with similar abuse. Then they might actually not enter in relationships like this, but I've worked with a few that actually are in some very secure relationships. Of course, there's some different challenges because the spouses tend to be a little bit controlling, as they tend to be the secure ones when they have someone that tends to be very emotionally labile and insecure, and then has a tendency to shut down and freeze, sometimes dissociate. Then they tend to be very kind of directive and controlling of the situation, probably because they have needed to be. So disorganized attachment will really can show either one of the anxious and avoidant styles, and it has usually some symptoms of both. But they tend to be probably, I would say, more towards the anxious side, like this, more drive to connect. But then when they connect, they shut down. Whereas the avoidance, they kind of have a drive to connect as well, but they are much better at keeping that boundary and keeping a distance than the disorganized. The disorganized are more like the attached. Anxious is when they go towards their person or their object, and then they shut down and they avoid through those means. The shutting down of the emotional systems, the shutting down of the nervous system, and really the breakdown of the ability to connect with their world and also their inner selves. So disorganized attachment is, like I said, one of the most extreme forms of attachment disorders, and they have sometimes the most difficulties with relationships because of that, and they tend to be very fearful. And like I said, they will pick relationships that are often not healthy as they repeat those patterns or don't know what to look for in a healthy relationship. So as we start to do some more of the treatment aspects and what it looks like in a long-term relationship, then we can discuss some of those particulars as it pertains to the disorganized attachment folks. There's thankfully a lot less of them than the other two. I think it's much, much more common to see people that are avoidant or anxious in relationships, and then of course people that are secure, which we will talk about in our next video. So with that being said, if you have questions, please leave a comment or ask, and we'll do the best we can to answer it. And as we get through some of these series, we'll take some short breaks and do some question and answer series, some live question and answers. We discuss some of those things in a little bit more detail and then maybe a little bit more specific to your situation. So again, connect with me on the website if you get the chance. Let me know what you're thinking, what things are coming up for you, and what I can do to help you. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.